This evening in our gospel, we see that Jesus, as Father mentioned in the beginning of Mass tonight, that Jesus is inviting people to come and to follow him. And they give a response. Jesus speaks to their heart, and whatever they were up to, whatever their lives were like, they ended up leaving that life behind, and they said yes to him. So we have James, John, we have a whole group that end up saying yes to the Lord. They give a response because he called them. My friends, God has called each one of us as well to be here as a part of this community, to be here as a part of Annunciation Catholic Church. And so as we come together here tonight, I just would kind of ask for a moment if you would think about how has God called you this week? How has God called you to be here? That you came here into this place tonight for Mass? When was it that God called you to be here as a part of this parish community? Maybe it was 30 plus years ago. Maybe it's been in the past year. But again, you've responded and you've said yes to him. And our parish has a lot of items, a lot of things that go on here. We have a lot of activities that occur on our parish campus. So about once a year, we like to put out an annual report. You'll be receiving it in the next couple of days. It was just mailed out yesterday, may come sometime next week to your home. This year, the annual report includes not only just an accountability of our financial stewardship, an accountability of our, time, talent, treasure, as I like to say, prayer, ministry, finance, but also it includes this year some work that our pastoral council has been very busy with. And that has been, as many organizations have, not only a mission statement, but also something new for us as core values. But let's speak first about some of the finances, because I know that's what most people are often interested in. You wonder, what comes in here to Annunciation Catholic Church? So when you receive this in the mail, you might be able to take a closer look at it. You can see that our income comes from various sources, the largest being the offertory. I want to thank you for your goodness to the offertory, for those who participate on a regular basis. If you do not participate on a regular basis, if maybe you're not registered in our parish, but you attend, I would encourage you perhaps to consider that. I also would encourage you to consider the electronic funds transfer. It's called EFT. You can sign up for it on the website, and you can do that by going right onto the website. It says online giving or online donations. And so maybe you would be interested in that. I really today want to say thank you. Thank you for your goodness. Thank you for thinking of what your resources are, about how God has blessed you. And then think for just a little bit about perhaps are you giving at a level that really is appropriate for what your resources are. I've made the commitment in the past. I make it again. You give from the heart. And tonight I just really say thank you very, very much for giving from the heart. But also we have expenses, many expenses. So what comes in also goes out the door too. As you know from your own home, there are many areas that you kind of think about when you see your income and you say, wow, where did it go? Well, we have kind of a similar situation here. You can see all the different areas that our money and the money that you have very generously given, where it is distributed to, and some of the expenses that we incur. I think it's important to go into a little bit more detail, maybe tell you a little bit more about some of these areas on the pie chart. For instance, you see what our utility bill is. That would be for this building, for the St. Gabriel Life Center, and then the Preschool Nazareth Center Gymnasium Complex. So you know what you spend and you know how large your home is. We have a couple 100,000 square feet here. When you start adding all of that up, it's probably in line with what your utility bill is at home. And as pastor, I'll say one thing that, as a pastor, for some reason, you just kind of start doing is going around and turning off all the lights. Maybe you do that at home as well. I think it's just kind of innate, like a parent perhaps. Also our insurance bill, kind of get a sense, and that's something that, we plan for tomorrow with that. We know that you never know when something might strike, something happens, we have to be prepared. Another area that we really take very seriously here in our own campus is our buildings and grounds. Just for repairs and maintenance, you can see what the figure has been for the 12 months, July of 2013 to June of 2014. That's our fiscal year. So you get an idea there. That would be things like preventive maintenance. It would be items such as a small roof repair, maybe getting the carpet cleaned, things with the air conditioning here in Florida, so important. So you kind of get a sense a little bit about what's on our plate here as far as our expenses. You may remember last year in July, we reinstituted the second collection for a stewardship of facilities. So we have these beautiful buildings now. How do we take care of them? I want to say thank you for your generosity to that because of your generosity, you really helped to re-roof the Nazareth Center Preschool Gymnasium complex. It's kind of a big job. We did it last summer, you probably remember. Also, we were able to reseal and go over all of the pavement, the driveways, parking areas. And that's something that, again, is very important. We have acres here, a 35-acre campus. The parking lots are quite a bit of that. Sometimes I wonder we probably don't have enough parking, but, we try to work with that. We have to take care of what we have. So you get a sense. When I come to you to talk about finances, we speak about it in three ways. Annually about our operating expenses, just like you would have at home. We'll speak in a few weeks, and that's what I've just done. In a few weeks, we'll speak about our Catholic appeal. We'll have an assessment. I'll talk about what that is, watch the video. Maybe many of you will do that online or through the mail. I think over half last year took advantage of that. So when you receive it in the mail, feel free to respond. And that's once a year. And then finally, we have capital campaigns. We are about in the final phase of Alive in Christ. The mission has been built up at San Jose. Track and field has been completed. And, we're still kind of working on that as well, on receiving the funds in order to be able to pay that off. An area that you may not be familiar with outside of financial stewardship is you may wonder, well, how do we seek advice from parishioners? And so I'll tell you that as the pastor here, I see that I have 4 advisory teams, basically. The Pastoral Council, which helps with the pastoral ministries, basically the day-to-day running of the parish, assists our staff as well. We have 6 areas of parish life, which I'm sure you're familiar with. You can look up more information on our website. We have the Finance Council. Finance Council meets on a regular basis to go over just what we've just done. Go over the chart of accounts, make sure we're doing things as we should, again, seeking advice. We're starting a facilities team, and that will help to evaluate the various buildings that we have. What is their functionality? How do we do a capital improvement schedule on them to make sure we keep up with what we have built? And really, what are our needs current and going forward? And finally, we have a school board on our campus. The school board helps me as the pastor, along with the principal, to be able to seek advice on going forward, visioning for the school, kind of what's tomorrow going to bring. This week is Catholic Schools Week, as we mentioned in the beginning of Mass. And tomorrow, if you've never been to the school or the preschool, I invite you to go down. Go take a look, and it's a great place. Maybe you have a neighbor who has children. Wonderful things happen there in a beautiful, secure environment. I'm very grateful to Dr. Margaret Curran, who was the founding principal of our school, comes to Mass. Right over here she sits. If she's not here, I wonder where she is. She's always very, very good. And now Mrs. Patty Kale takes care of our school as the principal, doing a great job. So you can see we have some advisory councils. Now let's think about our mission. It was really the work of the Pastoral Council back in around 2008, 2009 that came up with our mission. It's 15 words. I'm sure that we all kind of are familiar with it, about Annunciation, hearts are burning to know, love, and serve God by loving and serving others. Helps to guide and kind of give us some direction as we move forward with all of the activities that occur here on our campus. But really, what is most important that goes on here? I kind of wonder that because where does it all begin? People drive by on Montgomery Road. They see this beautiful window right out there with the sacraments on it. What's in the center is Jesus. It is the Eucharist. It is the beauty of our faith life. Our sacramental life is very, very important to us here at Annunciation, very important to us as Catholics. Christ is the center of our lives. And along with that is, how do we bring Christ then to others? So I mentioned core values. The Pastoral Council in 2013-14 kind of put together and put heads together looking at some past surveys and also priorities that we have to say what is most important to us here at Annunciation. Really, what are we about? What are our standards? What do we believe in? What do we want to make sure that we really embrace as a Christ-centered community? I'm sure Jesus had core values with those early disciples. How did he teach them? How did he set expectations? So we've said a few here. The first being a Christ-centered and sacramental life. When you get the annual report, you'll notice that under each one of the core values, we've included some beautiful quotes, something to think about, something to reflect upon from the saints, from fathers of the church, or recent popes. So I hope you'll really look through it because it's very, very important. Good for us to kind of know that what happens here at this altar is the beginning of everything else that goes on here at 1020 Montgomery Road. Christ is at the center of all we do. That's how we come to know him. Again, you responded tonight by being here. Another core value, knowledge and practice of our faith and Catholic traditions. Something really important to us. How do we come to learn about our faith? How do we learn from the saints from the past? How do we learn from really thinking about what we receive here through the Word of God, working in our lives every single day? God's Word is dynamic. It's not stagnant. How do we partake in the devotions of the church, leading us closer to know about God, but also to fall in love with him? And we do that through our education, formation programs as well. Another very important part of our mission is once we know God, we love God, well, now how can we serve him and also serve others? So you can kind of get a sense that outreach is huge. It's something that our parish has been really always known for, is many different ways in which we, as a people of God, are able to bring what we learn here and then put it into action. How do we put love into action? Well, through Advent outreach, through St. Vincent de Paul, Habitat for Humanity, perhaps even the Fall Festival, which all the proceeds go out to others to help other organizations in need. As well as our food pantry has been extremely helpful in reaching out to other community organizations. We have, as another core value, being a witness to the gospel. We know, love, and serve God, but now how do we bring it elsewhere? Well, we're asked to go out and to speak about our faith. How do we do that? What do we do as people in order to be able to express our faith? It's not just what happens here, not how loud you sing or how holy you might be, but really it's kind of what goes on outside of here. And I've said this before, one of the most important signs in our church is the exit sign. Right now you might be saying, I can't wait to go through the exit sign. But the reason of that is because, again, it's not what happens here, it's what happens outside of here. We're witnesses of what we learn. And our final core value is to be a welcoming parish family. Again, beginning of every Mass, we welcome those who are here. It's been a character of this parish for many, many years. We have a very big church, but you often hear me speak about how do we make big church smaller? Well, that's through the people that are here. Whenever we have a visitor, it's amazing. People come out to me in the line, and they'll say, Father, what a beautiful parish. I felt really welcomed here. And they thank me. I want to say thank you for that. Because that's really the work of each one of us as parishioners here at Annunciation. So you'll look through the core values. Thank you for taking time to do that. So now I would like to ask you a question, and that's when you look through the core values and you look through the annual report, maybe there's one that perhaps this year you can really focus on. Maybe embrace, maybe say, I'm going to go outside of my box and be challenged to be able to go a little further into my faith. So today, my friends, I've spoken to you about our financial stewardship, spoke to you about our mission, our parish governance, briefly touched on the core values. There's more in the annual report. Hopefully I've given you really something to think about. And once again, today Christ has invited each one of us to be here, to come here to meet him today. And you came walking through these doors just a little bit ago. You came walking through the doors probably thinking, I wonder what I'm going to hear today. I wonder who I'm going to see. How will Christ touch my life? I hope that when you come here, perhaps you have a little bit of heaven, because that's what church is really all about, giving us a taste of heaven, building the kingdom on earth. Not only here at church, but on our entire parish campus. All of the activities that go on here focused on Christ, focused on our mission and our core values, to be able to not just keep it to ourselves, but to go even further, to bring it further, to spread it wherever we go in our work, in our neighborhood, to be able to say, Lord, you know what? I'm going to be able to take my faith and I'm going to live it each day. How am I going to be able to do that? So, I hope we help to give you the tools to do that, to speak fondly about our faith, because you never know when you might come across someone who might really need the church, might need the Lord. I invite you to invite them. I ask you to invite them to come to the Lord, especially those who are labored and burdened. They need Jesus more than anyone. How can we be a disciple in the world today? Thank you for all that has been done in the past. Thank you for what the future may hold, for your goodness and the hope that you bring. Thank you very much for being a disciple here at Annunciation.